So, but you mentioned something important, which is preparation. And I think that's really important. Would you mind just maybe expounding upon that a little bit more? Like, in your opinion, how does a woman prepare herself to be a wife, to be a mother, to eventually go along and be a helpmeet and to, work alongside her husband?
Sure. So I think primarily we have to think about wifeliness as a facet of womanhood, right? So the first thing I know that helps any woman trying to be a wife is understanding who you are as a woman and what it is that you need to look introspectively about in terms of femininity, in terms of character, in terms of the way you interact with the opposite sex. So, you're not rude and nasty, that type of stuff. And then having a good foundational understanding of what you are created for. So not just saying that you're created to be a wife, but what your purpose is. Meaning that if you are supposed to be a helpmeet, what does that look like for your particular spouse? So praying for your husband before you even know you got a husband to pray for. Praying for safety and clear guidance. So just being in tune with Christ in life, meaning that you have to have a prayer life. You have to speak well of where you currently are, but speak well of your future. Take care of your body. That's preparation too. One of the biggest things that I did, I had lost over 50 pounds preparing for my husband. I didn't know I was preparing for my husband, but God put me on that fitness journey. Also, just kind of working on the character traits that I knew weren't ideal to have. Because there are things that we don't even know are wrong until you start to say, well, I don't have to be a nasty person. I don't have to be rude. I don't have to be snippy. How can I refine that? Because I do have a humor, but it doesn't have to be a humor backed with dark humor.
Okay. Yeah. It can be uplifting. It doesn't have to be. I hear you.
So that adjustment. But really just working on your individual character, how you interact with the people in your life. Because if you aren't in good relationship with your family before you have a husband, before you have a fiance, I think that you're also going to end up bringing him into complicated situations with parents and siblings and all of that. So I think that work on your relationship with your family members and your friends, and also kind of make the adjustment in your friend group that supports the fact that you want to be a wife and what type of wife you want to be. So it's not to say that you have to get rid of single friends, but you also have to set the standard that my friends have to support the fact that I'm going to be primarily focused on my family, my immediate family, my husband and my children. And if you ask the questions and say, hey, how do you guys feel about me getting married? And it's like, well, I don't want you to get, what about us? What about you might
Right.
You might have to cut them off. They might not make it. Changing your circle, and also just kind of refining your character, and putting yourself under a microscope and saying, well, what is it that I would kind of be annoyed with if my husband came in with it? If my husband came in with, inability to speak to me kindly, I'm going to check and see if I do that, or if I don't do that, or inconsistency. I think that's the other, my husband's in the chat. That's the other thing. Focus on, like, if you are an inconsistent person, it's going to be hard for you to be a wife, because you don't have the ability to focus in and do the homemaking things and make the choices with your husband and stick with them. You're going to make it more of a complicated thing for your husband. So just character building and being consistent and working on the relationships you have with people.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense.